Okay, training number one. And this one we're going to focus on what should I be posting on social media. Now, I know this is SEO marketing and you might be wondering like, why are we starting with social media? Well, the reason is that this will give you a very quick win to get you moving in the right direction. And as we all know, like it or hate it, social media is here and it's part of modern business. So all of you probably have some sort of social media that you're doing or want to be doing. Um, and this will help you formulate a plan that will help support your goals, which we're going to work through. But formulate a plan of how you're using social media, why you're using it, and how it relates to the SEO of your website. Because oftentimes when we're doing social media, we compartmentalize it. So we have Facebook over here, we have Pinterest over there, we have our blog or a podcast, maybe we have videos on YouTube, and they're all these different separate entities. But really, they need to come together, and they should all be working together like cogs in a machine. And that's when you get the most results from what you're doing. So your social media needs to be planned out and set up so that it supports what you're doing on your website, and then it will help your SEO by sending more traffic, but also it will help you reach your goals. And it's not just something that you're doing. Okay, so the first thing is social media. What is it? Now, this is like a phenomenon that came about, I don't even know, like how long has it been around? Like the last 10 to 15 years. I would say as far as business, it's probably the last 8 to 10 years that has really taken root. Originally, it was just for people to talk and get to know each other and whatever. And that is something to remember. And Mirna, who is in this group, always brings that up because she is like a Facebook business queen. And I tell that to clients also. Remember, it is social. Okay, so it's become this hub for us to run our businesses. Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are, even TikTok, YouTube. YouTube is a little bit different. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But they started as places for people to connect, people to share, so that you don't have to be a rock star to have this following. And that was the idea. And at some point, businesses caught on to that because it was an inexpensive way to connect with people. Everybody was on there. And so the social media outlets started to cater to businesses. They started offering ads, they started offering different pages and different ways that you can use that social media platform to grow your business. Now, LinkedIn is somewhat different. It's a similar concept, but it was designed for business professionals. So everybody on there understands that you're in business. So you still need to remember the social though. That's why LinkedIn exists. We all have businesses, but the point is for us to connect socially. So you need to remember that it's social. If you are just on social media and only using your business page and not using your personal profile, not connecting with people outside of your business, not building relationships that then it makes them friend you and then they find out where what business you have, or you are very helpful in a group. There's lots of groups where people ask tons of questions, and I'm a question asker, but I'm also a problem solver. I like to be in groups where I can give people advice. And it's not necessarily just from a business standpoint, but it does help because that's how I build relationships. And then at some point, they may need something that I have to offer and I can reveal that. Now, you do not want to go into groups or pages or wherever you are and just be like, hey, here's my product, buy it, right? Or sign up for this or whatever. You need to build that relationship. You need to get to know people. And most groups have a spam policy where you're not allowed to just share whatever you want to share. So it really is through those relationships that social media will build your business. It really is, and especially now, because I think social media has figured out that people don't want endless ads, okay? And so they're trying to kind of pull back, especially Facebook and Instagram, try to pull back that business aspect that they created. So business pages are not getting the reach that they used to get. They're not able to do what they used to be able to do. That doesn't mean that it can't still help your business. It just means that you've been possibly taking it from the wrong angle. So a business page is essential for if you are going to do advertising. It's also good to have just because a lot of people, especially millennials, will be on social media and that's how they find what they need. They use it as a search engine. Okay, so that's why your business page is important. However, realize that if you're not actually social and active on the platform in other ways, then it's not going to benefit your business in the way that you want it to. So as you're being social, so you're in groups, you're posting on your regular page. Now this is one thing. A lot of us started pages, right, to keep in touch with family and friends. And then at some point we started a business, or we decided to bring our business on. And then we have this personal page and we have this business page. And sometimes we run them as completely separate entities. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. But your personal page, while you can't sell it, is a way that you can build your community and connect with people. And so you need to remember that when you are posting things and sharing things, you need to make sure that they're things that you feel comfortable being aligned with your community and your clients that will find it there. It's just I'm not saying censor. I don't believe in censorship at all. I'm not saying don't be you or don't be real. I'm just saying that when you have a business and you're trying to grow that business by using your social media, just be mindful of what you post and what you share, realizing that there are people who aren't maybe your core group of family and friends who will be seeing. Okay, so we covered the social aspect. Next, we want to look at the media part because it's social media. You need to be sharing media. And what does that mean? That means photographs, graphics, videos, and copy or content. You need to be sharing something on there. And what you're sharing on there should not just be, hey, go over here, go over there, go over here. Because if you're just constantly sending people off of the platform, first of all, the platforms don't like that. And their algorithm will downgrade you. But also, that's not a great way to build community. And I put this first, the social media, which really doesn't necessarily tie into SEO, but we are going to talk about instances when it does in a little bit. But the social media is a great way for you to start building a following, to building a community and connecting with people in a different way while you're working on building up your website traffic. Okay, so it will help funnel people there. It will help build that base. And then as you're working on the other one, then you will start growing organic traffic. But it's important to have a community. Now, one word of warning, there are many people who solely focus on, let's say, Facebook. And that's how they operate their entire business. They don't have a separate web page or even a landing page. They don't have anything off of that. They don't have email lists. They just have followers. That is a very risky business proposition, okay? Because Facebook at any point in time, and really any platform, it doesn't matter what platform you're talking about. I know there are many new ones that are popping up that are supposed to be better or whatever, but in the end, what you're doing is you're using somebody else's platform to run your business. And at any moment in time, they can decide that your business is not allowed on there, or businesses in general aren't allowed on there, or just disappear. Because we know businesses just disappear. And so if you have built up this whole thing, and that is what your entire business model is based on, like the YouTubers that are just making money on people watching their videos, and they do not have any kind of product, and they do not have any way to capture those viewers other than on YouTube. If YouTube were to disappear, their entire business, and let's be honest, there's people making a lot of money on there, will be gone. Everything they've done will be gone because they have no way to connect with the people that have been watching them to get them to go someplace else. Like if YouTube leaves and there's another video platform, they can't get those people from YouTube over to the other platform. They would need to start from scratch. So while you're building this social and this media, treat it as another, basically like another website, a blog, okay? So you're sharing this content, you're building a following, you're having conversations. social media has kind of replaced what blogs used to be. Most people do not comment on blogs anymore. It used to be that you would have these long running threads of conversations. If you followed blogs at all, or you were a blogger back in the day when blogs were at their height, you know that that's where people congregated and met. You made friends, you asked questions, you swapped recipes and everything. But when social media came in, it changed that. And so that isn't necessarily happening on the blogs and the podcast pages, it's happening on social media. And this is the important part of having both of it. But you need to make sure that as you're building that media, that you have someplace else that you are gathering those people, their information and such. So when you're sharing media, you need to share media directly to that platform. Sometimes you will be sharing, hey, I have a podcast, like go listen to it. But the overall overarching majority of your content should be content that is exclusive to that platform. Now you might be saying, well, how does that help me with SEO? Because then people aren't going over to my website, to my podcast, to wherever I'm trying to send them. Well, this is where you need to be kind of stealthy and you need to share in your page description, in your photo descriptions. Like now Facebook has cracked down on places that you can share links now, because it used to be there are a bazillion places that you could share links in your page, but you can't do as many places. But there are still places that you can do that. So make sure that your website is listed on your business page, that you have on your personal page that you work at such and such, which is your business page. Okay, so people can click on that and then they can see your website. That you have in your description what your business is and where they can reach you. Those are ways that you're funneling people there. Most social media at this point is not playing into SEO because for the most part they've closed off, and you need to be on the platform to see what is going on. The exceptions are Pinterest and YouTube, and to some extent LinkedIn. So we're going to talk about those as far as media and playing into SEO. When you publish something on Pinterest or YouTube, Google loves them. And if you notice when you do searches, that's what pops up first, right? You'll have a little tile of all the videos. You'll have pages, especially if you're looking for something that Pinterest really is known for, like a recipe or a craft, gardening, something like that, something to do with kids. Then you'll have pages of Pinterest listings that will send you to a Pinterest page or a Pinterest board or whatever. So for Pinterest and YouTube, what you're posting does play into SEO. They do have their own algorithm, yet they are showing up on search results. So if you are looking for, debating what platform should I do next, and I don't advocate for people doing every platform under the sun because you just can't keep up with all of them. But if you have what you're doing well in control and you're looking for something else, I would recommend Pinterest or YouTube as a platform to start something on, because they do pull rank, I guess you could say. They always outrank the other things. That doesn't mean that you don't need a blog or a podcast or that they can't rank. It's just that they have more clout. Now, LinkedIn is an exception. LinkedIn kind of has both of those. So if you're doing a LinkedIn post or a story, then that can only be seen on LinkedIn. And that doesn't play into SEO, but it does build your community, which then will funnel into building your community and your followers on your website. However, if you are doing a LinkedIn article, then that requires SEO, and that will show up in search results that people can read it who aren't on LinkedIn. And we're going to talk more about, the SEO of writing an article or a post another month, but just know that that's the difference. Okay, so if you're doing one or the other, if you're doing both, understand that one of them is closed and just for people that are on there, and the other will show up in search results. So just be mindful of how you're doing it. What media do you need? You need media that will attract attention. There's so much on, especially the big ones like Facebook and Twitter. I mean, Twitter is just like nonstop, right? Things are up and then they're down. Or Instagram, right? There's just so much to look through. People are being bombarded by things constantly. You need something, especially on a platform like Instagram, that's driven by graphics and visuals, that's going to grab people's attention. And you can do random photos some of the times, and you can talk about things that don't have to do with your business. You can, but you don't want to just be putting up photos that people will react to that then doesn't lead to what you're doing. Okay, so you need to put media up that's building a relationship, that will create conversation, but you also have to have it connect to what you do. So perhaps let's say you're an essential oils dealer. And so every photo that you put up, or every graphic or every pin, doesn't have to be like lemon oil, oregano oil, clary sage, like just about all the oils. They can be other things. Maybe it can be about healthy lifestyle, or you can put something about like you doing your morning run, or soaking in the sun, or, having, how many glasses of water you drank that day, or whatever it is. But those kind of tie into the idea. If you're an essential oils dealer and all you're putting on social media is like your dog playing and your kids coloring and where you went on vacation and what you ate for lunch. Now that can tie in a little bit, but I think you get the point. If you're just doing like lifestyle posts that don't relate to what you're doing, unless like you taking your dog for a walk, you're saying, oh, I'm so glad that my dog is out for a walk because I helped it with this oil, and not necessarily selling, but they're showing how you use it in your life. That's just something to be mindful of. There's some people that just like to share memes, or just like to share funny things, or just like to share these photos that get people talking. But then at the end of the day, you have no idea what their business is. And so that's just wasted time, to be honest. So be mindful that what you share lets people get to know you. You do want to share things about yourself so people can get to know you, but always think of how can this relate to what I'm doing in my business and the goal that I have. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is using your core content to generate posts. As I said in the beginning, oftentimes we kind of put them into little boxes, right? Now I'm going to do Facebook, now I'm going to do this, then I'll write my blog, then I'll write my email. But using the system that I teach, all of that should come from the same place, because then it's all working together, right, to get to your goals. But also, it's saving you time, because you're not sitting down and saying, oh, now I need to come up with 15, Facebook posts. I don't know what to say. You can throw in extra posts, and it's good to talk about things that are going on right now and to be timely, or to share something that you found that was funny. But the posts that you plan should be coming from your core content. Now, what is core content? Core content would be a blog, a podcast, or a video that you publish regularly. So not so much a video like you're live on your page, but if you have a video channel on BitChute or YouTube or someplace else, what they used to call a vlog. I don't know that anybody calls it that anymore, but that's your core content. And everybody has to have some sort of core content. Your core content is never going to be social media, because as I said, that platform can disappear. Only a very small percentage of the people that are actually following you get to see that, and it's very hard for them to go back. It's not like they can say, hey, I remember that back in February, Susie shared this post that I want to look at, and they're not going to be able to find it, okay, because social media is rapidly moving. Whereas if you have a blog post or a podcast or a video, people can go back and find it. So this is another reason why you want the core content, because you have your information out there and it's easy to access. So once you have your core content, I'm going to click share screen. This isn't what we want to look at, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So this is my blog, which is growing. This is actually my 4th blog though, so we're still working on it. But when you have a core content, you want to pull your content points from that content. And what I mean is, you're not going to necessarily go in and just highlight something and copy and paste it. okay? Because then that creates duplicate content and that downgrades you as far as SEO, even if you're sharing it on Facebook or whatever. I know Facebook is closed, doesn't show it, but Facebook definitely communicates with Google, so they know if you're doing that. But what you do want to do is go through and see what are things excuse me, what are things I can talk about in here or turn into a post that would serve my audience. And as you're doing that, you're introducing them to the concept of this, which is what you teach, how you serve. And then you can, in some of the posts, in the comments, this is where I highly recommend you put your links, or in the comments, say, hey, then go check out this blog. You're not going to do it in every single post. Do not put a link in every single post in the comments. But ones where you are looking to have people offline, not offline, off the platform, and finding what you are doing, then you're going to share that in the comments. So let's look through this, and I'm going to give you some examples of this. Okay, so let's look at the first sentence. Building your business can be a difficult task. This is something that would be great for a couple different posts. So I'm going to tell you what kind of posts you could make this into and how you could use this. Okay, so the first one is a quote post. Now, I know I said don't copy and paste, but this is an exception. If you have a quote in your content, your podcast, your blog, or your video, that you think people would react to, or that demonstrates your expertise, or is something like a tip or an idea that you want to share that will set you up as the expert, then you can make a quote block or a quote graphic to share. And people like quote graphics. I'm not really sure where the phenomenon came from, but they really like quote graphics. So if you were to copy this, then you can go over, and we're going to come back to Canva in a minute. You can go over to Canva and let's say pick Facebook post. Just put in one of your colors. Let's just do this. I know how to do Canva. It's because I opened it in a different window that it's trying to give me. So let's say this is one of your colors, okay? Obviously, you might have something else. And then you're going to put in the text. Oops, that's my text. Okay, I thought that copied, but maybe it didn't. Put in your text. Okay, and we're going to want to scooch this in a little bit so that we can center it. And you can make it bigger, you can change the color of it, and let's just pretend that this is our logo, okay? And so we're going to take that logo and put it down in the corner, and then we're going to take a little bit more text, and we're going to say www.yourwebsite.com. Okay, so people know where to find you. And underneath here, one more thing. You're going to put your name, okay? And you're going to put quotation marks around this so people know that it is a quote. Okay, so that is a very easy way to make a graphic that you can use again and again and again on your social media, and keep these on your Trello board. And then once you have a bunch of them, you can just rotate them, because like I said, only a small percentage of your people will see it. Even if it pops up again and they see it, they can be like, yeah, that's a great quote. Maybe this time I'll share it. So this is a very easy way to use parts of your core content. Now, I encourage you to do that, but don't have that be the only way that you're using your core content. So what's another way that you can use this as a blog post? Well, building your business can be a difficult task. You can use it as a conversation opener. What is the most difficult thing about building your business? People love to talk. Give them an open-ended question and see what they say. So ask them, in your opinion, what's the most difficult part of building a business? And have them answer. Another way is to make it into a poll. You can have, building your business can be a difficult, here are the most difficult tasks of building your business. Which one is the hardest one for you, or something like that. So A could be setting up social media, building a following, creating core content, getting sales, whatever it is. Have 4 to 5 options. Usually have an other or something else or none of the above option. Something so people can fill in the blank themselves, because you can only have so many options. And really, 3 to 5 is the best ones to have. If you have too many, then they can't see it all because they only show 3 to 5. And then people get overwhelmed and they don't answer. You want them to just have quick, think about it and answer, because you want them to answer. You want them to comment. Again, going back to the social part, you want them to be social. You just don't want them to go through and click like, or go through and read it and keep scrolling. You want them to actually come and comment. So another way you can do it is an open-ended statement. So you could say, building your business can be blank, 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 blank. Okay, and so that could even be a graphic. Okay, so let's say if we took out your name, and we took out the quotation marks and made this and put ahead of it, like, finish this sentence for me. And you just put in a blank line and have them fill it in. Now people are going to fill in what they think. Building your business can be a picnic, building your business can be a headache, whatever they want to put in, and then it gives you a chance to start a conversation where you can share other ways, like what you know, you can comment and build a relationship. And then eventually you can be like, hey, well, check out my blog post over here. The last way that you could use this is through a teaching post. So you can talk about, you have this idea for building a business and it can be a really difficult task, but you need to stick with it. So like an encouragement / teaching post. Talk to people about how it is difficult. If you're running into difficulty, it's not just you. Building a business is really hard. Stick with it. If you have questions or you want to chat, please, send me a DM, and that will also build relationships and build your following. So just from this simple sentence, you've gotten at least 4 posts, possibly 5. You could do a live on it. That would be definitely number 5. You could also make this something that is just a lead into, like, hey, if you're having trouble with your business, check out my blog today, type of thing. But you could do an entire week of posts, like targeted posts, just out of this one sentence. So try to think outside the box. You could even do a GIF or a meme related to this and get people talking. This is the way that you pull out content points that aren't necessarily copy and paste, but that will give you ideas for what to share. So let's try looking for another sentence. Okay. Okay, so let's hear, there's another sentence, okay? And there's probably other ones that I skipped, but oops. I'm trying to just pick one in a different paragraph. Hold on. Oh, technology, when it works, you love it. Okay, so the best way a business can use blogging to boost their business is by taking part in the blogs of others. Okay, so this post is about blogs and how it can build your business. Like social media, when you have a blog, and this has changed somewhat because there are many blogs where you can't comment anymore, but you could still go and follow them. You can share it on your own social media. You could follow that person on social media and comment on their posts when they share about their blogs or whatever. There's still ways you can take part in blogging, the blogs of others. You can do guest posts, okay? But the point is, the best way a business can use blogging to boost their business is by taking part in the blogs of others. Now again, this point could be several different posts. You can turn it into a poll. What's the best way a business can use their blog? A, B, C, D, E. Okay, get people talking. You can use it as a quote. You can use it as a challenge. Okay, so it's been proven that the best way for a business to use a blog to boost their bottom line is getting involved in the blogs of others. So I challenge you to find 3 blogs out there and interact with them today and see how you can help each other boost your business or something along those lines. You can use it as a teaching post. These are different ways that you can interact with others' blogs that will help boost your own blog and build your business. You can use it as a live. You can use it as a conversation starter. So, do you think blogs will actually build someone's business? And then people can give you their opinion. All of these are ways that you can use that sentence to create other posts. And it doesn't have to be that you're just dreaming up all these posts, okay? Because also what it's doing is when you're out there, you need to be saying the same message over and over and over and over and over again. And I've heard it said that if you feel like you're screaming, you're still just whispering on the online space because people are being so inundated. And you're probably tired of me hearing me say this, but it used to be that somebody had to see something 3 to 7 times before they committed to it. The second half of 2020, a new study was done, and it was 17 to 21 times that people had to see or hear something before they were willing to commit. So if you are just putting this out, like let's say that you just put this out on this blog, or maybe you even made a post about this sentence, people are only seeing it once. They're not buying into it. You need to get it out there multiple times. So in each of your blog posts, you want to have it going out 21 different ways for people to consume it and then want to go read that blog post. Also, you have a message that you need to share, and your message doesn't change, just like your core goal doesn't change. If your core goal is get people into my membership or my coaching program, or your core goal is for them to buy your high-end product, that doesn't change week to week, day to day, hour to hour. So you need to be putting out the same information, the same story, the same expertise over and over again. And so this is how you do that, by pulling out the core content points and using them over and over again. I'm going to stop share for a second. Okay, now that you have your content points, and so you have your message out there, you have your story out there, you're displaying your expertise, you've built this community on social media, you're interacting with people, you're building relationships, you're making friends, you're positioning yourself as an expert by sharing advice and, you know, encouraging people. The last thing you need to remember is how social media and SEO can work together. Okay, now, I did say that most social media platforms do not figure into SEO and will not, you know, necessarily lead people to your website because they don't want people going to your website. However, when you release a podcast, you release a blog post, you release a video is a little bit different if you're on YouTube because that kind of ranks itself. But if you have a YouTube video, a YouTube channel, then you should also have on your website, because remember, you want to own this. You should also have on your website your video embedded in a blog post and then a short description with resources and such, so that it will rank in both places. That will definitely help boost your SEO. But so when you're doing that, like creating that post, and for your podcast, same thing, you should be doing that. You shouldn't just be putting it on Stitcher or putting it on iTunes and expecting them to do the publicity. Okay, you want people to go back to your website, so you should be embedding it in a blog post. Again, you don't have to be blogging, but you do have to be blogging. Embed it in a blog post and then write a short, basically teaser post or show notes, or, you know, related topic, or this is where to find what I talk about, minimum 400 words to go below it that you have in there. When you're doing that, you need to do something that is very critical to SEO and social media. And this has nothing to do with what you're putting on social media. What this has to do with is what your followers are putting on social media. When you are putting out this content, you want to have graphics that are optimized for several different several different platforms of social media, so that when your audience shows up and they read it and they think, this is great, I want to share it with my friends, they can just share it, okay? If you only have a blog banner graphic, it's not going to work very well, especially for like, you can't share it on Pinterest, you can't share it very well on Instagram because it's not the right shape. So I'm going to go through which graphics you want to have and then how you can use those graphics to push your website forward by having other people share it out. Because yes, Facebook doesn't like links off. However, it does like people sharing things to Facebook because that means it's, you know, growing Facebook. And Facebook likes that. So if other people are sharing your link to Facebook, then now that creates a connection and Facebook likes that, okay? So I know it's kind of like that double, they don't want it, but they do want it, okay? It means that people are seeing things and they're sharing in Facebook and people are talking about it on Facebook. So it helps them and it boosts their algorithm. So I am going to share my screen one more time and show you what graphics. Now you might be thinking, what am I gonna do with all these graphics? Okay. You don't need to have a graphic for every single platform. There are a few key templates, I guess you could call it, or sizes that you want to have in there that will work on most platforms. So if you look up here, this is a blog banner. Okay, if you notice, it's not shaped like an Instagram post, it's not shaped like a Pinterest post, and actually when you share it on some, it comes a little grainy, and it usually doesn't show up that great. Okay, but you should still have a blog banner because that is how it will show up on your site, and that becomes kind of its default graphic. Now this graphic here is an Instagram graphic. Instagram graphics work great on Facebook, they work great on MeWe, they work great on obviously Instagram. Anything that has a more squarish graphic, this will work on. So you don't need to have a graphic for each of those. LinkedIn works pretty well with that. This is a Pinterest pin. Okay, if you notice, it's very long. Pinterest has a very unique format. It's a very long post, and they, you know, there were people for a while who are trying to make theirs longer and longer and longer. They've cut that off. You're not allowed to do that. But they do have a standard size, and that is the size that they want. And in fact, if you don't do that standard size, because they have standardized it, this way they all fit in tiles, and it's not like some are this big and some are that big. Those days are over. It used to be you could share any graphic on Pinterest, but they like this. Now they've said this is the only shape that you can share. Now that they've standardized it, you need to make it the size of Pinterest. And that is the only way that your information will get onto Pinterest, which is one of the most powerful search engines in the world. And as we know, Google likes because it ranks it high. Then the third graphic that you should have, oops, where did it show? Oh, I forgot to put it in here. I don't have it in here, but you should have a Twitter graphic. I obviously forgot. You should have a Twitter graphic because Twitter graphics are elongated, and those work on different platforms that have longer posts. So LinkedIn, sometimes Instagram will work, but the Twitter works a little bit better. And Twitter is another place where people regularly share articles. Now you may be wondering, well, how do I get them to do this? Well, actually, I'm going to show you first. If you go over to Canva, which I highly recommend you having Canva, you can see that there's Instagram posts, Facebook posts, there's all different ones. You can go in and make a post and then resize it if you have Canva Pro and then just have 3 different ones. I don't recommend you doing that in your post though. You want different graphics because different graphics will speak to different people. And so you want to use these, but if you're not sure what to do or how to make a graphic, or you're not a graphic designer, I'm not a graphic designer either, you can go to these templates and use any of these templates and bring the, you know, like, and you can change the colors, you can change the font, you can change all this, but it gives you a layout to work with. So that is very helpful. You can also just do a blank. No, I'm gonna do all this. you can just do a blank one and do a photo, especially for like Instagram and Facebook. People like photos, so you can just do that. But again, try to have an Instagram, a Pinterest, and a Twitter graphic in each of your posts. Now, once you have that, I'm going to stop share for a second. What you need to do, and WordPress, and I know some of you have Wix or Weebly or maybe a different program altogether where you have your website. They all have different, and WordPress is plugins, but they would have some sort of add-on or program that you can do that then goes on your website, and people can click directly on that. Let me find it. I am going to share one more time. Let me find one that I know has this and show you how it works. As I said, I'm still getting mine set up. So blog, home, vertical garden. This is actually something I'm really interested in. So that this is here. But as you can see that she has some ads in there. I was just on Canva, so obviously she's tracking me because it keeps having Canva pop up. But here is the pin. Okay, so do you see this pin? If I go up here somewhere, it should have where I can pin it. Oh, she doesn't have it. She used to have that. Oh, here it is down here. Okay, so do you see these? Sometimes what it does is on the graphic, like a little red circle with a P would show up, and you could click that and share it. She has it at the bottom. But either way, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter which add-on program, app, plugin you use, but find one that allows social sharing. Okay, so if I click on Pinterest here, it takes me right over to Pinterest, and I can sign in and share it there. Okay, because I will tell you that while all of us probably know how to take the link and move it over there, people are not going to do that. So you want to have a button that they can just click and move it over. Okay, and this is okay, so and then this would be Twitter, that you could share it right onto Twitter. Or if you clicked Facebook, I'm not logged into any of these right now, then I'll show you a look on Facebook, and you can share that there. Okay, she has LinkedIn, which surprises me, and Reddit. But you can, if you don't want to put all of them, you could just do Facebook and Pinterest if you wanted. You don't have to be on that platform though to offer your audience an option of sharing that. So don't think, oh, I'm only on Facebook, I can't put the pin up there. No, put the pin thing anyway and put the pin graphic. I would recommend that at some point you get onto Pinterest, but the fact of the matter is that you don't have to have a Pinterest account for them to share it. They can just share it on their Pinterest account, and then that will funnel people to your website. She also has here, now this isn't required, but if you have a way of them sending it via email, that would be great. Now, obviously, she has a massive blog and has lots of ads, but when you are doing your post, and you might not have millions of followers like she does, you can put in your own ads a graphic for something that you're doing, an invitation to go to a free website, whatever it is, and that will help to boost your business. So when you're doing graphics, remember, have those three, well, actually it's 4 graphics. So have a blog banner, even if it's a podcast teaser post, it's a YouTube teaser post, and then have Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter graphics within there, and then pepper it with graphics for ads. Now you don't want to overdo graphics though. So if you have, this is a long form post, because she always does long form posts. Won't say how I know that, but I do know. So all of her posts are at least 1,300 words. And so she has mostly ads in here, okay? What you want to do though is get your stuff, mostly because she has the thing at the bottom where you can just share it. And she knows that her stuff will share. And Pinterest is the one that's most picky about graphics. So Okay, so sorry about that. Um, so, uh, but you want to have those graphics, okay? Wellness Mama has been blogging for a very, very long time. She got into the game when blogging was at its height and is keep doing it. If you want to get traction on SEO, you need to have those graphics, and then you want to put in at least one graphic for something that you sell. This way you're doing your own advertising. So instead of paying to, I mean, you can still pay to advertise other places, but put it in like an ad, put in something that you sell, something that you offer, a freebie, a class, whatever in there as an ad. And this will help your sales, and also more graphics help you to boost your SEO. So that is where we are leaving that off now. We will be going in deeper into graphics and SEO and how to optimize them. But the purpose of this was really how to use social media to boost your website and how to use the algorithms and build your community to help your SEO. So I will be attaching the checklist. Please work through the checklist. It may be something that you want to just sit down and do, but it isn't necessarily designed to be done all in one setting, okay? It's something that's designed to be done over the course of this month. So at the end of the month, you have mastered this skill and taken action with it on your website in a big way. So thank you very much, and can't wait to see you at our next call.